Mecca of make-believe, land of broken promises, Lotus Land, Cinderella City, Tinseltown, Hollywood, weaver of fantasies, the dream factory, hub of the entertainment universe. Hollywood that lures young hopefuls from town and village, factory and farm, all seeking the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
In 1909, Hollywood is trying to promote itself with an ad as newly fresh paved sidewalks and beautiful homes populating the land. Then in 1911, the first film company, Nestor, was established and attracted more movie studios from the east. Hollywood became the film capital, and the boulevard became their stomping ground. One of the earliest buildings that was developed on Hollywood Blvd was the Janeshouse. This house was built in 1903 as the model home for the housing development that H.J. Whitley was creating. He sold that piece of property to Mary and Herman Janes, who moved from Illinois to California. The Janes made a lovely home with their 4 children until 1905, and in 1911, Mrs. Janes decided to open up a private school to teach the local children. This school became so popular that they eventually expanded it to teach up to 8th grade. Since it was conveniently located near most of the studios, it taught the children some of the most prominent film people, including Jesse Lasky, Charlie Chaplin, Douglas Fairbanks, and Cecil B. DeMille. Unfortunately, by 1926, the school went under after the passing of Mr. and Mrs. Janes. The children decided to continue living there, and Donald Janes decided to make the front of their yard an oil station. With Hollywood Blvd further developing, they also leased out that space to be parking lots and other small businesses. Many developers, including the Chamber of Commerce, tried buying off their house, but they denied every request, even becoming semi-recluse so as to not sell off their Hollywood history. As what Mary Grace told a reporter, Mr. Whitley built this house, and he told us it was the best house he'd ever built. There's nothing wrong with it. The last Janes kid lived at the house until 1982, which resulted the house to be sold to the developer. Today, the Janes house is a historical landmark, which continues to be one of the oldest original houses in Hollywood. Where there is work, there is play. As the studios continued to grow, there was the need for fun, which brought the first major nightclub in Hollywood, the Café Montmartre. Right after the collapse of the Little Club, partly founded by Rudolph Valentino, people craved for more night entertainment. Hollywood didn't have any clubs, so developer C.E. Toberman, who ironically wasn't a drinker himself, decided to open up a building with the bottom floor being a cafe next to the newly opened Robertson's department store. Toberman asked club owner Eddie Brandstrader to develop a nightclub on the top floor. With this brought excitement, publicizing as a club to see all the stars in town. It became known around the country. It also had a gambling room in the back. Some of the most famous celebrities including Adolphe Menhu, Winston Churchill, and Rudolph Valentino bringing his girlfriend Natasha Rambova on dates, and Tom Mix. It also became a famous tourist attraction where people would hope to see a star or two, or even get discovered to become a star. Joan Crawford would come to dance there, and she said, "At the Montmartre, overlooking Hollywood Blvd, the gayest people lunched, dined, and super clubbed while tourists were held back by red velvet ropes. I worked all day and danced all night." It was the most popular club and restaurant in town. But as the years passed by, other places started popping up. Unfortunately, the cafe started getting a reputation for being a tourist trap, and the way they were hassling celebrities when they would come. Brandstrader, without the permission of Toberman, decided to open another club next door called the Embassy. It featured a rooftop view of the Hollywood Hills and a much more exclusive list of guests that were Brandstrader's friends. When Brandstrader booked a band named the Rhythm Boys, it introduced a young Bing Crosby to Hollywood. The Embassy Club had a lot of notable guests, including Dolores Del Rio, but when Brandstrader opened to the public, that is where both clubs died with it. Brandstrader tried opening it as the Edgemont Club, but police were raiding clubs and this eventually had to close. Throughout the years, the building kept reopening its various clubs. C.E. Toberman decided to open the first Federal Savings and Loan Association of Hollywood on the first floor. This actually helped Hollywood to continue to develop throughout the 1930s. Throughout the 40s, it became a lingerie shop. It eventually became the Lee Strasberg's acting studio, while downstairs was the Cherokee bookstore, where they sold comic books and collectibles. The building eventually changed again, to what you see before you, just a bunch of gift shops, a tour bus company, and a museum. It will never regain the glamour it once had, but a place people should always celebrate, regardless. Just a block over, another iconic site on Hollywood Boulevard was the famous Grauman's Chinese Theater. It was founded by Sid Grauman, who was a theater wizard also responsible for the Egyptian theater. He was a performer in the theater with his parents, where he realized that film was the entertainment for the future. He was able to save enough money in San Francisco to buy his first theater. He had befriended many feature film players like Fatty Arbuckle, who at one point worked at his theater. Unfortunately, because of the 1906 earthquake, his family's theater was destroyed. His family was able to scrap up and continue entertaining the people in the rubble. His family quickly were able to save up again and moved to Los Angeles to open up luxury theaters in downtown Los Angeles. He then decided to open theaters in Hollywood, where it was becoming the film capital of the world. He opened up the Egyptian theater with the opening of the Douglas Fairbanks movie Robin Hood. He would make prologues before the films that would become famous by using his vaudeville background and orchestrating shows for people to get excited to watch the actual film. He hired a bunch of extras looking for work, including a young Myrna Loy, who was discovered by Rudolph Valentino, who would later sign a contract with Warner Brothers and would famously become Nora Charles of the Thin Man series. Many movie companies had wanted to buy his theater, and Grauman couldn't pass up the money. He had sold to Fox West Theaters, under one condition, that he stay as a manager, yet he missed running his own theater. So he decided to open up another theater, not too far from the Egyptian. Having partnered with financier C.E. Toberman, he decided to lease out the property that was formerly the house of Francis X. Bushman, and started to build a theater reminiscent to a Chinese temple. They knocked it down and built what still stands today. Grauman's Chinese Theater opened in March 1927 with the Cecil B. DeMille film King of Kings. What makes the Chinese theater stand out from any other theater is the famous hand and feet cement ceremonies celebrating performers that have made a difference. It is Sid Grauman's intention to have not only all of the more important luminaries of the cinema world on record with their footprints, handprints, and signatures in the court of his new theater. The origins of the cement placements has always been speculated, but most can agree that it came from the actress Norma Talmadge, Mary Pickford, and actor Douglas Fairbanks, by complete accident. They were going to visit Sid for the construction of the theater, and as Talmadge stepped out of the car, she accidentally stepped into the wet cement. This gave Sid the idea to immortalize his friends through cement. There has also been rumors as to the whereabouts of Charlie Chaplin's cement blocks. He actually had his footprints made in January of 1928. But because of the Red Scare of the 1950s and his supposed communist views, people claim that his square was cemented over. They have unfortunately disappeared, and no one seems to know where they have went. Grauman over the years would cement countless celebrities' feet, including Jean Harlow, Mickey Rooney, Shirley Temple, people who have made an astronomical influence on the entertainment industry, who would stand the test of time.
Blonde and first brunette, Marilyn and Jane won their chance to join Filmdom's immortals by their work in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, the Technicolor adaptation of the sensationally humorous musical comedy stage hit. Hollywood's photogs delight in the contrasting duo who, despite their clashing roles in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, offstage are as friendly as sorority sisters.
In 1932, Grauman was offered to run the Roxy Theater in New York, but declined because he said life is too short and that all his friends were here. He was the general manager there until his death from a heart attack in 1950. It wasn't until 1973 until Ted Mann acquired 100% ownership of the entire theater chain. He remained as chairman and chief executive officer until 1986 until he sold it again. Today, Grauman's Chinese Theater shows a testament to what entertainment shall be. Sid Grauman left an immaculate legacy of a top showman, in which he even received a special Oscar for. As he said, I doubt the Hollywood Blvd will die, as long as the Chinese theater remains as a sanctuary to the memories of the great stars who enlarged and romanticized our lives.
Allow me to congratulate you, Miss Sears.
Thank you, Mr. Grauman.
And may your success, like the imprints you've just made, last forever.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
And now, if you will, please. All right.
Now Miss Sears will sign her name in the cement, and the ceremony will be complete.
How did he do such fantastic stunts with such little feet?
Wow, you shot the bad guy. Well, what do you want to do now?
Come on, let's check out the end of the flick.
Yeah. Gee, I sure hope there's a happy ending. I love a happy ending.